thank you for being here this morning. Before I get started, I do want to take a quick opportunity to recognize any elected officials that are here. I know of at least one, so could I ask our elected officials to please stand or raise their hands?
He's not going to raise his hand, but Commissioner Vince Ford.
Vince Ford. All right, let's give him a round of applause. Well, again, thank you for being here. Let me tell you a little bit about Mobi-Rec and where this originated. It started a couple of years ago from a project team in the Furman University's Riley Institute Diversity Leaders Initiative. I'm sure many of you have heard of that or even participated in it. I was fortunate enough to be a part of that team, and our goal was twofold. Number one, increase physical activity to help tackle our growing obesity issue. Number two, increase access to safe and structured play. So Mobi-Rec is a mobile recreation vehicle that goes to parks, community centers, and playgrounds to engage children in play where access and safety may be limited. The key component is engagement. This isn't about throwing the back door open and throwing out some soccer balls and hula hoops. With Mobi-Rec, the staff engages with the children, provides a safe, comfortable setting, and organizes games and activities where all children can participate. In July 2013, Mobi-Rec was unveiled in Greenville through a partnership with the Greenville Parks and Rec Department. It has become extremely popular, and I'm proud to say was the recent recipient of a $250,000 national 3-year grant to expand its staff, its territory, and therefore its impact. As a Liberty Fellow, I found myself challenged a couple of years ago to find another way to have a positive impact in South Carolina, and my mind kept coming back to Mobi-Rec. I didn't want to see it stop with just one truck in Greenville, and I knew it could be successful in other parts of South Carolina. Having lived in Columbia a few years ago, I knew this was a community that would quickly embrace this concept. So as I began to meet with the community leaders, I received a lot of very positive feedback. Somewhere along the way, someone said, well, you need to meet with Mr. Gil Walker with the Columbia Housing Authority. Now, as it happens, I already knew Mr. Walker, so I gave him a call, and Mr. Walker and Mr. Gist, the board chair, and I met for lunch at the Blue Marlin months ago. I'm not even sure I was done with my sales pitch before they both said, we're in, when do we start? And I really did I took a deep breath, and I was kind of that dog that caught the car and wasn't sure what to do next. But I will say one of my prouder moments during this process is when Mr. Walker and his team came to Greenville and met with the staff at the Greenville Parks and Rec Department to really dive into Mobi-Rec and how it could be successful in Columbia. It gave me great pleasure to see both organizations sharing lessons learned and new ideas, all for the benefit of our greater community. It was actually in this meeting where Mr. Walker's staff suggested they could even use Mobi-Rec to engage seniors while kids are in school. And I thought, what a great idea and a perfect way to expand the reach. Projects like this do not come to fruition without the strong philanthropic support of the business community. And before I recognize our sponsors, I want to tell you how engaged these organizations have been. These sponsors are looking well beyond just the check that they wrote and are working to identify ways to not only partner with the Housing Authority, but partner with Mobi-Rec. For example, one sponsor wants to ride along with Mobi-Rec from time to time and use it as a platform to engage with children and parents to promote healthy lifestyles. That's just one small example, and I promise you there are many others. That ongoing corporate engagement is what will make this project that much more successful in Columbia. So at this time, I'd like to recognize the wonderful sponsors that have made today possible. As I recognize our sponsors and their representatives, I would like you to stand and just remain standing until we name all of them. Palmetto Health, Vince Ford, Kimberly South, and Tiffany Sullivan. Mungo Homes, y'all got to stand because it's good to embarrass you. Mungo Homes, Tom Chumney. Aflac, Faith Curtis. Blue Choice Health Plan Medicaid, Amy Bennett and Donna Williams. WellCare Health Plan, Kathy Warner, Anton Brown, and Jida Orlana. There we go. And keep standing just for one more second. I do also want to thank Todd Moore Sports, who partnered with us on the purchase of the equipment that's on the truck. And actually, I'm proud to report that we came under budget, so we have about $15,000 remaining that has been specifically designated to replace and add equipment in the coming months and years. I cannot thank these sponsors enough, and I remain most enthusiastic about the future partnerships. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Before I turn it over to Mr. Walker, I would like to recognize one last person, Miss Talisha Stewart with the Columbia Housing Authority. Talisha, please raise your hand. Talisha and I have been partners on this project since day one. And Talisha, I have very much enjoyed working with you on this project. I admire your passion for the Housing Authority's mission. I thank you for what you do in this community, and I thank you for taking a leadership role with Mobi-Rec. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Gil Walker with the Columbia Housing Authority.
Thank you so very much, David. First, let me thank all of you who have participated in this process, especially the sponsors, and more specifically, David Lomanak. When he first called, I wasn't real sure what it was that he was talking about, but he said that what he wanted to do was to sit down and give us a little presentation that what he thought that could be something that could be helpful, not only for seniors, but for all of our communities. And I said, you know, I think this is something that we should get involved with it, and then we took it and run from there. First thing that I did was I asked Talisha Stewart, who is here too, I said if you would head it up to make sure that everything that we do, that we keep it in line, that we make sure that we do those things that need to be done in order to get people involved with this program. And she's done that. Took us a little while to get to this point. Next thing I asked David, I said, who's going to raise the money? He said, I'll take on that. He said, I'll call a few people and see if we can get some people to participate and put some monies up. And he did that. And we appreciate that. We appreciate everything that you have done. First, let me say that what we plan to do is to use this as a physical, use this machine that we have here as a truck that will go around to different communities. What we've done too is to hire 2 graduate students from the University of South Carolina who will actually be running the program. And they'll be under the supervision of Talisha Stewart, and they'll go around to different communities. It'll be planned. We will make sure that we get people involved, not only young people involved, but what we want to do is to make sure that we get our seniors involved too, because we think the more active that they become, that the more that they stay out of hospitals, the more that they stay out of nursing homes and all the other things that sometimes people just sit in their room and do. And I am an advocate, a believer that the more exercise that you take, the longer you live. People feel better, and when they feel better, they do other things. So I was 100% in favor of it. And when David told me that he started calling, I think he called Palmetto Health first, and they came on board immediately. Didn't even hesitate. Vince Roach said he felt like this was something that they wanted to be involved with, and then we started calling Mungo, and we started calling some of the other sponsors that were involved, and they said that they wanted to be involved with it, and it's something that we think that will spread, and when people see it, I think that they will know that it's something that will continue to keep going and make things better for people. We will continue to support it. We'll make sure that we keep the vehicle up, that we keep it manned, that we do the things that need to be done in order to make this work. Next thing that I did was I went to our board, and I told our board that it was something that I wanted to get involved with. They weren't real sure what it was when you say Mobi-Rec. So what we did was we brought a brochure, and we did some of the things that to show them, and they came on board with it too. So I appreciate all the efforts that they have done, and I appreciate everything that they have done to make this a reality. I see Miss Bessie Watson here too. Bessie Watson is on our board. If you would just raise your hand so that people will know who you are. She's been very supportive, not only of this project, but supportive of all the projects that we have. I see our board chair too, Bobby Gist is here too. He was in on it when David called and said that we needed to go to lunch. I wasn't real sure what he wanted to go to lunch about, but he said, I think it's a project we think that the Housing Authority should be involved with. I'm gonna ask Bobby if he would come up and just say a few words, and then he'll introduce the mayor, because it goes along with some of the same things that the mayor's been talking about: healthy living, making sure that people stay active, that they do all those things that need to be done, and then we will move forward. Bobby.
First of all, I apologize for being late, and where's Miss Jennifer? I want my lawyer to come up here and be with me. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, and Miss Betsy Watson, these are my bosses right here. These are my bosses right here. These are the ladies on our board, and I never come up front with not having these lovely ladies with us because they're always such good people, and they always provide us with great support. And one's an intensive investigator, and the other one is an outstanding lawyer. And so it's always good to have them with us. And I just want to say on behalf of our board, we're so pleased. The Columbia Housing Authority has been ranked as one of the top 3 housing authorities in America. And I tell our mayor and our council all the time, thanks to Mr. Gilbert Walker that we have him here in this community. The Mobi-Rec program is something in which we will reach out to people in the Midlands and help so many people. And I want to thank David and his staff and for all the work that they've been able to do and to help us get Mobi-Rec on track. We really want to thank you for being here, but it is a pleasure for us to get the opportunity to talk about some of the great things. And David Lominax was the project lead person for this, and we're just so pleased that he and his staff and others have worked with us, and we're just so pleased to be here today for the unveiling. With that being said, I'm not an elected official, but we want to make certain that we recognize our mayor and bring him up to make some remarks. I think that that's the agenda. Am I correct? Well, once again, we would like for our mayor right now, please welcome the Honorable Steve Benjamin, the mayor of the City of Columbia.
I always find Bobby interesting. I'm not sure anyone's ever that excited to be surrounded by an investigator and a lawyer at the same time, but only Bobby Gist. It is exciting to be here in historic Drew Park with one of the most innovative housing authorities in the entire country in partnership with the business community. David, to see the products of our business community working through DLI and the vision of the Liberty Fellowship all coming to reality is a good deal. I was very worried when we lost David to Greenville, and it's good to see you back and coming back bearing gifts. That's even cooler. We've made a true commitment at this city to making sure that our citizens live long, healthy, and fruitful lives. We're making record investments in our parks and recreation department, investments in free camps so our children can engage in spring sports like baseball and soccer. We just wrapped up our 6th annual Mayor Skills and Drills camp. Over the last 6 years, we've had a few thousand young people participate in a number of different sports all across our city, recognizing that if we're ever going to be the most talented, educated, and entrepreneurial city in America, that we've got to make investments in all of our people, in all of our children, all across our city, regardless of who they are, where they're from, what zip code they're born in. Every child is our child because of the leadership of Councilwoman Tamika Isaac Devine and my wife, DeAndre Benjamin. We are the #1 Let's Move city in the country, according to the National League of Cities, and we're excited about what the future holds in that regard. I do know that if this vision of having a healthy, talented, educated, and entrepreneurial city is to become real, then we have to do it together. We have to do it together. And today, David, this is a classic example of you showing the leadership and our great business community partners, our nonprofit partners, and this incredible housing authority coming together to make it all happen for our citizens. So I just want to say thank you so much. We're one great city, and we're glad to welcome Mobi-Rec. God bless you.
All right, so now we're going to try to pull this tarp off. It may be awkward if we can't get the tarp off, but I'd like to ask our sponsors to come on up. $20,000. We're going to need a new car.